I'm Sofia Florenda.
And I am Luca Tanangco.
The topic for this video will cover how the Philippine government has handled the COVID situation.
And go over where we go from here.
Over the past few months, the government has approved a plan to go back to school half a day every 2 weeks and have said that 100 schools, public and private, will be a part of this trial.
We do not know the effectiveness yet of this kind of learning, but many parents have been itching for their kids to go back to school, although no Metro Manila schools have been named. This includes ISM.
The first case detected in the Philippines was on January 30, 2020.
Which was followed by the first lockdown on March the 15th.
It ended on April 30, 2020.
With the most recent lockdown starting in August, but although COVID cases are rising, because of the economy, the government has not been able to go back to this kind of lockdown, with the highest tally of COVID cases coming a couple of weeks ago at 25,000.
People have been advised to wear a face shield and a mask when they go out. There have been multiple lockdowns, and each lockdown has lasted for about 15 to 30 or more days.
Even with the lockdowns, restrictions have been easy to get around, and COVID cases have only gone up. The government has had a rough time balancing lockdowns with the economy, and depending on which is the more important at the time is when the government has made their decisions.
On a 7-day average, there's been about 12,455 new COVID cases, and it hasn't been improving due to the Delta variant, as some people haven't been observing social distancing and following the lockdown rules. Healthcare workers have said that previous lockdowns have done nothing to ease the situation, as hospitals have been getting more and more filled, reaching full capacity.
The government hasn't been trying to impose lockdowns and whatnot, but they have not been effective at implementing it. Because of this, results have not been there to say that these lockdowns have been effective, with the Filipino people and expats alike being forced to live with the lockdowns. The next major part of the COVID pandemic has been the distribution of vaccines. The Philippine government has been quick to distribute vaccines such as Sinovac and AstraZeneca, although they have not been what the population thought it should have been, but of bringing in Moderna vaccines and Pfizer alike, which the growing majority of the population has gravitated towards. Currently, many Filipinos are going through private sector people to get vaccines, and their children alike. And the government has also had reports of under-the-table shots for kids with no certification to be evident.
After the first round of vaccines following the Delta variant, the cases started to rise. This is because the vaccines were put into inefficient use and therefore became obsolete.
The first vaccines arrived on Sunday, February 28, 2021. There have been multiple vaccine arrivals around the year, and especially during this month of October, bringing in many Moderna vaccines.
The government has recently approved the use of mRNA vaccines for populations of 12 to 17. This was the most recent shipment of mRNA vaccines is the Philippine government's plan to combat the Delta variant and pick up the vaccination rates. As of October, the Philippines has received over 64,942,000 vaccine doses and will continue to bring in new supplies of the vaccines.
The first government relief bill at the start of the COVID pandemic was done June the 24th, which is a total of $86 billion. One of the major shortcomings of the Philippine government was the failure to get mRNA vaccines, Moderna and Pfizer alike, sooner, with the health secretary failing to make a deal that would have secured the Philippines over 10 million Moderna and Pfizer vaccines alike, with presidential aspirant Ping Lacson having words to say about the situation.
With the next presidential election coming up, the cases will start to rise, and many believe that this will be a close election. This will mean that candidates will have to source votes, therefore gatherings of people could be resorted to.
In conclusion, the Philippines has had a rough time with the COVID pandemic, and we are definitely still in this. Although kids are now starting to get vaccinated, we don't know yet how they will be able to spread the vaccines to the other provinces, which could definitely be a deciding factor and when we get back to school.
This has been the Balitang Bamboo.
Thank you for watching.